Hi. The movies I'm reviewing are Requiem for a Dream and Patch Adams. Why the fuck did I pick these ones? Um, to review. Anyway, yeah, these movies don't really have that much of a story, actually. Come to think of it, I'm not really sure what the story is. Personally, I think Patch Adams is a less terrible movie. Don't recommend watching anything for curious values for either one of these movies. I'm just in my head wondering what the fuck is wrong with people making movies like these. I don't know what to talk about them, but okay, I'll talk about Patch Adams because that has a longer story for us and a more story that feels like a free act structure to a movie, sort of. Patch Adams is basically Robin Williams playing the worst version of himself, Robin Williams, who goes by this name, Patch Adams. Most of his source material, and he's part of the wackos in a mental institution, decides that he wants to be a doctor and help the mentally ill. Stupid. Oh god. And so supposedly it's based on a true story, but I have no fucking idea how true this is. Um, so most of his source material is, as in jokes. Yes, he's a comedian. Wants to be a funny doctor. A doctor that really believes in curing people with the power of laughter. Guess what most of his source material is making fun of? No. Guess what 100% his source material is making fun of? The mentally disabled. Ah. Oh god. So when we introduced to him, I think in the film he's in a group therapy session. I think that's when we introduced him, and he makes fun of a comatose person after thinking we should after this, and it seems like he's going to make this seems like he's going to be sincere and genuine and nice, and then he decides to make fun of the comatose person after he wants to be after he seems like he's going to be severe, genuine and nice about the whole topic and how we don't know what is going through his head or is the comatose person. So then he decides to just make fun of him. Um, somehow the doctor's somehow he no longer becomes a patient. And he doesn't really develop or change for the better at all in the film. Concerningly. Very concerning. His behavior towards what he's thinking about the illness is the only reason why I don't know why. I will say I do like this one scene that I do like is that he decides to chair of a bunch of cancer kids and by wearing a clown nose and by trying to make them laugh and while they're basically all in the late stage of cancer. I do think that was a nice scene. I would say like that scene, but that's the one of very few and very many of unwatchable things that makes me question if I'm going to hell if I said I like this film. Or if anybody liked this film. That's kind of my feelings towards Requiem for a Dream. It makes you... Both of these films kind of make you question... Can you go for hell for liking a bad movie? I mean, this level of bad movies? Or shows? I don't know. Yeah, so, anyway, all of the, competent doctors are the bad guys. And not disrespectful pieces of shit to the mentally ill. And Robin Williams wins in the end, triumphantly, and, the other side is pleaded guilty by the court. And this is all because they wanted Robin Williams not to be a doctor. I'm calling Robin Williams not Pat down because not sure this person is a real person. I mean, I supposedly Pat Jones is a real person, but I hear Pat Jones is a real person, but the way whoever this writing this development of him, it makes him seem like the one of the biggest assholes on the planet. A really lazy asshole, though, type. That's also kind of stupid. Or just asshole. I'm not sure. Yeah, so I'm being completely serious about all this stuff. Like this stuff, so, yeah, he wins the day in the end, and, I don't know what's next after that. I don't know. I kind of had trouble following along with this film less than I did with the other film that I'm calling top of that. So I give this a I'm giving this a 0 out of 10 because this sucked. Patch Adams sucked. Requiem for a Dream. I'm throwing top about now, and okay, you know how I said Patch Adams made constant jokes about the mentally ill? Well, this kind of turns it on the head in the worst way possible by by turning the mentally disabled into a fucking horror fest. Like this feels like the first ever real Saw film. This feels like the first Saw film. This feels like This feels like a Saw film before the same way that the Passion of the Christ felt like a Saw film before Saw even came out. A year after the Passion of the Christ. This movie just makes my stomach turn. Requiem for a Dream. It just does. I mean, like Pat Adams, the acting's really good, and interesting visuals, visually pleasing to the eye, and same way Passion of the Christ is, and same way Pat Adams is. Requiem for a Dream. So yeah, but that's as good as I can give. I fucking hate this movie. Even more than Patch Adams and more than Passion of the Christ, because this movie is... I don't know what the story is. half of the movie is just people talking, going on their daily life while I don't know, trying to find unhealthy. Most of them find unhealthy methods to cope with their daily life. So then they decide they want to do that anymore. They decide it's best to be clean and sane and stuff, and they just get tortured throughout the half of the film, very much physically. Like when they check themselves to the institutes, that's when it's just the end of them having any life left in them, because it's oh boy, it's just uh yeah, non-stop torture after torture scene 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 after torture scene. Though, and the guy, one of the patients has to get his arm removed, and because of, I think, so much of the torture scene that the hospital is putting him through, so he ends up losing the arm because of it, and then one girl ends up getting checked out through power of manipulation people, and calling in a few favors and blah blah blah. And the other sweet old lady, this old lady gets lobotomized, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. Yes, this seems to be a sweet old lady who seems to be pretty nice. Not with reality, but seems to be, those people that seem to be harmless but are not with reality, but harmless and but harmless enough like they wouldn't, like they're so harmless, they're not with reality, they're not dangerous to themselves with it or anybody else. This is, yes, it's what she was, like one of those people. So it was seen. So I can't remember the rest of this film. I really fucking can't. I can't remember the same way I can't remember the rest of the Passion of the Christ or Requiem for a Dream, because even no matter how many times I see any of these three films, because these all these French night films, these two movies I reviewed and talked about, Requiem for a Dream and Pat Jams, and the one I referenced, Passion of the Christ. I'm questioning what am I doing with my life. When I review films like this stuff that's this bad, or anything that's this bad, So yeah, Requiem for a Dream gets a 0 out of 10, This film, Requiem for a Dream, and then Pat Jump's gonna fuck itself. In the worst way possible, they fucking suck. Bye.